Okay, so it looks like it's 9:30 and we've got about 9 folks participating. Um, we'll, we'll be doing this for about an hour or so, so if any additional folks join, y'all are going to learn so much that you'll be able to help them out if they have any questions as well. So welcome to the Clevertouch training. My name is Stephanie Robinson. I am down in the Austin area, and wow, I sure miss going out and visiting with all of you guys. But I'm glad we've got the ability to set up the Zoom calls and do some virtual training. This not only helps me to reach y'all and kind of give you some tips and tricks on how to use your Clevertouch, but also just a way to show you, for any of you that may be doing virtual classes or hybrid classes, how you can set up your display and use it. Right now I'm using Zoom. And so just a quick description of how I've got this set up. I've got my laptop sitting on a chair in front of me. And so I've joined, or I've hosted the Zoom call on my PC. And so it's just plugged into power. And then I've got my Clevertouch display behind me, and I've downloaded the Zoom app. And from that, I joined the meeting on my display. And then I was able to share the screen from my display. So that's why you'll see me in the smaller window off to the side. And then everything that's going to happen up on the screen is what's sharing in the larger screen. So let's get started with the features of your display. And again, for those of you that missed the very beginning, if you've got any questions throughout this training session, please feel free to drop them in the chat, and I'll try to check that throughout the training and see if we can make sure we get those answered. So to start, one of the things I want to point out is these little arrows that you've got, one on either side. And you'll notice that they both bring up the exact same icons, which means that you can teach from either side of your display. The other arrow is down here at the bottom. And if you tap that arrow, this will bring up the options for your additional inputs. So if you've got your computer connected through HDMI, or maybe you have a document camera plugged in, so you can change the source by tapping on that caret that's down at the bottom of your screen. This also is where you can adjust the volume on your display and the brightness of your display. You've got two 15-watt speakers built into the display. So in a moment, I'll play a video and you will be able to hear the incredible sound that you get. So I think most of you have the new impact screens. And so on the impact screens, your power button will be down at the bottom, kind of in the middle, and it's a toggle switch. So that's your hard off-on switch. I would recommend completely turning off your display when you know you're going to be gone for extended periods of time. But as long as it's plugged in, you can still put it in sleep mode. And that way, if there's any over-the-air updates, they get pushed out because you're still connected to the network. So let's get started with the features of your display. And we'll start here at the very top with whiteboard. I think most of you will probably spend a good amount of time in the whiteboard app. So we will open that up. And one thing you'll notice is that the screen is dark. On yours, it will automatically open with a light colored background. I've changed the background on mine so that y'all can see me better on the little side screen to see exactly what I'm doing and follow me. You'll see we'll kind of come across some other pages. When the screen's lighter, I tend to get washed out and you can't see me. So again, if you're doing virtual online learning, hybrid classes, just changing that background setting helps to allow the students to be able to see you in the side window. So let's go through the toolbars in the whiteboard app, and we'll start by, let me grab my writing utensil. We'll start by talking about this item in your far left corner, the 3 lines, that's called a hamburger menu. And if we tap on that hamburger menu, you'll see another window pops up that gives us several different options. We can add a new page here. We can open an existing lesson that we've previously saved. We can save our whiteboard lesson. We can save it either directly to our Clevertouch, or we can save it to our Google Drive. We can import a document and export a document. What I want to talk about is the next item down that says background. And if we tap on background, that's not moving over for me. So in the background, you'll see this is where I can change my color of my background just by tapping on any of these colors that pop up. So I can change it for a single page of my lesson, or I can change it for the entire lesson. So again, for training purposes, if you see me in the side window with the dark background, I show up a little better. If I put a lighter background, then I'm kind of dark and grayed out and you can't really see me. So we'll switch that back to dark. The next item up at the top in this box is called texture. Now, Clevertouch is a UK-based company, and you know, these Brits, they kind of talk a little funny. So I personally would call these templates, but just to make sure that we're talking about the same thing, we'll call them textures. But we include all of these templates or textures with every display as part of your background solution. So if you want to practice handwriting, you simply tap on the lined paper. We've got graph paper, we've got music paper if we're going to write a song today, and we even have, of course, it's here in Texas, so we've got all of our athletic fields as well. Let's just say we want the football field. I know y'all are out in West Texas, but I am in the Austin area, and I am excited about watching the Longhorns play on Saturday. So this is something that obviously the coaches love, but again, you've got a lot of different built-in templates. So we'll just hit on the circle with the line through it and remove any of the templates. We'll come back to color and tap on the dark. Now the next item that you see up at the top says custom. So if there is a template that you would typically use and you didn't see it in one of those pre-loaded templates, maybe it's something you have stored on your Google Drive, or it's something that you go out and do a Google search for, then you can save it here and always have access to it. I know one of the other districts that I work with that has purchased some Clevertouch displays, their math teachers want a template of the XY coordinates. And so they have saved that as a custom template, and they're able to use that quickly at just the touch of a button. So again, back to the colors, we're going to hit OK to leave it what it was. Now we'll go through the rest of the line items on the bottom of your toolbar, and I will try to draw an arrow and show you exactly which buttons I'm pushing. So you can see me in the side, and then you can see on the big screen what I'm doing. So you'll notice that I have been writing with my finger. You also get 2 stylus with every display. So there's a pointy side and a thicker side. It really looks and feels like a pen or a pencil. There's no electronics built into the stylus, and it does not require any batteries. So it really is just a writing utensil. So I can also write with my stylus or my finger. If I was good at it, I could write with my elbow. So it's really just touching the surface. If we tap on this icon again for our writing utensil, this gives me options of my pencil, different paint brushes, even an eraser. This is also where I can adjust the thickness of my writing utensil. And then you've got your color palette over here to the side, so you can tap on any color that you want your writing to be. And then one other thing I want to point out is we talked a moment ago about how one side is thinner and one side is thicker. So you'll see up here at the top of this window, there's an orange pen and then a pink one. So the pink one right now is the pointy side. So if we tap on that and we want to change the color to blue, and then I'm going to flip my stylus over and tap on that orange one. And let's say we want to change that to yellow. We just tap on those colors. And now with my stylus, I'm just flipping it over and we can write in different colors. So I'm going to come over here so you can see what I'm doing. On this far right side, you'll see the little plus. I'm going to tap on that plus to add a new page. And one thing that I've seen teachers really get excited about is what I've heard called race wars, to be able to have two students maybe up here solving a problem or writing a story and kind of racing. So let's see if I could do this with my two hands. You can see I'm not left-handed, but I've been practicing. So there we go. Using the stylus, you've got the option to write in multiple colors simply by tapping on this icon of your writing utensil. Now these styluses are magnetic and they will stick to the front of your display or even the back of your display if you want them out of sight. So we will come in and add another new page. And now we're going to talk about this next item on the toolbar, which is the A with the underline in the box. And again, if we tap on that, we get our little color palette so we can choose the color that we want to write with. We'll make this one green. And here I'm just going to write a word. So you'll see this is our text recognition. I've written a word with my finger. You've got one box that comes up with 3 different options because it's trying to make sure that it's getting it correctly of what you've written out. And then the box up top has a down arrow and it says text. So that's what it thinks that I wrote. And it is what I wrote. So I'm going to tap on that down arrow and it will change my handwriting to text. Now, one thing to be aware of is that anytime it changes it to text, it will always be in that size of font. And we want it big enough for everybody in the class to see it. So one way to do that is to either tap on this hand gesture, and this will be something that you should be familiar with, just like with our smartphones and tablets, is the pinch and zoom. So we can simply zoom that out and make it larger. We can move it anywhere on the page. The other option that we have is this arrow, and this is basically like a mouse tool. So if we've highlighted the mouse tool, we can tap our word. So this box comes up around it. We can grab one of these circles and stretch it out and make it as large as we want. Oh, I didn't want to change the color of that. There we go. So a couple of different ways to enlarge that text when you change, when you do the text recognition. Again, that's the A with the underline in that box. We will go on to the next item, which is the X plus Y. So this is our formulas recognition. And just so you know, I'm not a math teacher, so I'm going to keep this pretty simple. But I have seen some math teachers show me some things that they've learned using this formulas recognition. So similar to our text recognition, again, you can tap on that and bring up your color palette. So I'm going to write an equation. Let's do 5 plus 3 equals. Now I'm going to want to end my equation with a question mark. And you'll see that the little box popped up to change it into text. And you do need to wait for that question mark to populate there at the end. And we'll tap on that down arrow. Now we're going to come back over to our mouse tool. And we'll tap on that and make it big enough for everyone to see. Now I can simply tap on my question mark to hide and reveal my answers. This is, if I was in person, this is usually where I get a lot of oohs and ahs. I did a training yesterday and I had a teacher ask me, well, can we put the question mark in the front? So we tried that and it actually worked. So we'll do a question mark plus 5 equals 8. And we'll hit the down arrow, grab our mouse tool to make that larger. Then I'm going to come back and grab my writing utensil and then tap on that. So I have seen other teachers that have used this to solve for square roots. They've done exponents. So it's really about knowing where to place that question mark so that it knows what it's solving for. I know it does really great at your basic functions, addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. You can try to get as wild and crazy with it as you want. So that is a cool feature that I think is pretty unique. I don't know of any other screen that has that built into the whiteboard software. So we'll add another page over here and talk about the next the next icon on our toolbar, and it's this eraser. So one thing I'm going to do is come back over here. So you'll see in the bottom right-hand corner, kind of in that toolbar where we add a new page, you'll see there's a number 7-7. So that means we currently have 7 pages in our lesson. And if you touch on that number, it's going to bring up a side window that's going to show you every page that's in our lesson. And you can tap on any page in any order to go back and review something. You'll see that there's a small X. Right now we're on page 3 and there's a little X. So if we hit that X, it would delete that page. I have been asked, and I will tell you, you cannot move them to rearrange the pages. So I want to be on this page to show you this next item, which is the eraser. And if I tap on the screen, that side window goes away. Now there are a few different ways to erase something. So first of all, I'm going to put my hand, the palm of my hand, and you'll see there's a white box that comes up, and we can simply erase that way. We can use the side of our palm, and a smaller box, white box, shows up, and we can just simply swipe it. Now if we touch this eraser icon, this is where maybe I only want to erase part of something. So I can draw a circle around it. I can just swipe through it multiple different ways. The other thing is on this side of the toolbar, you'll see that there's a back arrow and a forward arrow. So basically an undo and a redo. So if we tap that undo, maybe we erased something that we didn't want to, we can easily get it back. One thing that I have seen from some teachers is that they'll write out how to spell a word or maybe a math problem, and then they'll undo. And then once the class is ready, they can redo and hit that forward arrow and kind of go step by step on how to either spell the word or solve the problem. So the other final way to erase something would be the trash can in the middle, and that would then clear everything that's on that screen. So I'm going to undo that just to show you how easy that is. We're going to come back and add a new page. And let me just check in, and if anybody has any questions, I don't see anything in the chat. So if I'm going too fast, I've had 3 cups of coffee already. So let me know if I'm going too fast, if you want me to go back and redo the undo. So that is, let me get back to that page. This right here is the undo. So these arrows, we can undo anything that we've drawn, and then we can redo. Does that answer your question? Okay, good. Okay, let's see. All right, so let's go to page 8, and here we're going to talk about this icon, which has the shapes, the square and the circle. How many of you struggle to draw a perfectly straight line or a perfect circle, or even those dreaded 3D shapes? I'm awful at 3D shapes. So by tapping on our shapes icon, you've got the option for 2D and 3D shapes. And again, a color palette, so you can make your shapes any color that you want. So if we start with the 2D, and let's say we want a circle and we want it to be pink. Now I simply, with my finger, just swipe on the screen and pull in circles onto my lesson. Now, if I want that to be a Venn diagram, I've got my circles up there, but they're not actually aligned. So I'm going to grab my mouse tool, and it's this arrow on the far corner, and I'm going to tap on this circle and align it where I want. I'm going to tap on this circle and bring that in here. I can also pinch and zoom to make sure that the sizes look the way I want. Now, it still has the circles, the dots around it. Just simply tap on the screen to get rid of those once you've got them aligned. Now I'm going to grab this text recognition tool, and let's say over here we want to talk about dogs, and on this side we want to talk about cats, and maybe in the middle, what do they have in common? So just like that, by using the shapes tool, we've pulled in a couple of circles and just quickly did a Venn diagram. We can tap on that shapes tool again. We've got dotted lines if you want to connect anything. And here the straight arrows. I'm never good at those arrows. We can also add in, we'll come over here and tap the 3D shapes. So if you want an orange sphere, just tap on the shape that you want, the color that you want, and then swipe on your screen and it will pop up. We want the cube, gets me every time. But now it's pretty easy just by using those shapes. So let's talk about the next item on the toolbar, which is this hand gesture. And we kind of touched on that earlier. When you change something from your handwriting to the text recognition and we want to make it bigger, you can use that hand gesture to pinch and zoom. So the other thing that you can do by tapping on this hand gesture is we can now swipe our annotations off to the side of the screen. So we have endless real estate in any direction, north, south, east, west. So for any of you teachers that were thinking, they're going to hang this thing in my classroom and now I'm not going to have all of my whiteboard space. You have endless whiteboard space in this using your Clevertouch display. So I can write something, I can tap again on my hand gesture and simply swipe that over. We can continue writing our little lesson, our note, our math problem, our story. We can swipe it up When you do this, it actually kind of feels like something in the future, right? We're going to continue writing. We're going to swipe that down, and we can go as long as we need to and just continue to write and swipe. Now, at some point, I'm pretty sure there's going to be a student that says, I missed part of that. Can we go back? And I'm not sure which direction I swiped or how far back it was. So let me show you a little trick, and that's to tap again on your hand gesture, and it's going to bring up this window. Now you can see everything that's on that page, no matter which direction or how far you've swiped. But this red dotted box, we call this a radar box, and this will allow us to go back and find anything on that page, no matter how far we've swiped. So again, that's another thing. If we were in person, I get a lot of oohs and ahs on that. So the radar box, and then we can also, because we're in the hand gesture, we can pinch and zoom and bring everything back to one page. When you do save your lesson, no matter how far you've swiped, it will show up on one page. So any questions on that? Looks like we're good. Okay, we'll keep chugging along. Here is one thing I do want to tell y'all about, because this kind of tripped me up when I first got my display. And it's the next item on this toolbar, which is the artist palette. Cool little feature. We tap on the artist palette. And so we've got some different writing utensils. Again, we can pick the color. We can pick the thickness of what we want to create. Some little masterpiece here. Now, if we are done creating our masterpiece, my thought was we click on this down arrow next to the palette, but where's the other toolbar that I'm used to? And for the life of me, I could not figure it out. So the one tip that I want to give you is if you touch on that artist palette, that's great. You've got these other tools, but to get back to your other lesson and the other toolbar, there's an up arrow in the far left bottom corner of your display. And if you tap on that, then it brings us back to our other whiteboard lesson and the toolbars that we, or the icons in the toolbars that we know and love. So let's see what else. We've talked about the hamburger menu. The X, if you tap on the X, will ask you if you want to cancel, get out of your whiteboard. Do you want to save it or not? So I'm not sure if I asked if your students will have devices that will be connected to the same network as your display. Not every district allows that. So I'm going to show you this, and y'all can let me know if this applies to you or not. So again, you've got your display connected to your network. If your students have devices and they are on the same network as your Clevertouch, then we can tap on this. Let me draw an arrow to it. This little square that's on the left toolbar. So if we tap on that, it is going to generate a QR code. Now I'm going to tap on the QR code and make it larger. And let's see if you can see. So on my phone, I'm going to just, I've got an iPhone. So I'm going to tap on my camera and open that and scan that QR code. And I'm going to tap on this. And let's see how fast my internet is. So every page that we've done that's in our lesson is now on my device. Pretty cool. Again, that would be if your students have devices and they are connected to the same network, you can generate the QR code, and maybe for the older students specifically, on their way out of class, they would simply scan that QR code and have every page, every note from that lesson on their device. They can study on their bus ride home or in between classes. So that's one way to get your lesson to your students. The other way would be to save your lesson either to the display under Save, that. So we may want to save all of these lessons under Whiteboard, and then we can name them by the date or subject. So you can save it to your display and email it out, or you can save it to your Google Drive and then send it out that way. Let's see if there's anything else right now. One other thing is this floating toolbar. A little bit of a lag time, it's getting away from me. Okay, so this toolbar will appear on every page other than your home screen. And there's some cool features in this toolbar. So if we tap on that, the first thing you'll see is a back button. So we can go back. No, cancel. We can go back one step. Then you've got the picture of the house. So anytime you're lost or confused, you can always quickly and easily just go home. The next item is an HDMI input. So if you have your laptop connected via HDMI, you can simply tap on that to switch your sources and be able to display anything that's on your laptop up to the screen. Let's see, we've got these two pages in front of each other, and this is called our Active Directory. It's also one of the squircles that's on your home page, and I'll go over that feature here in just a moment. You've got a zoom on your floating toolbar. You've got a snipping tool, and then under the wrench, if you tap on that, you've got a spotlight, which we can pinch and zoom to get their attention on a specific area. And we'll hit the X to get out of that. Under the wrench, you also have a stopwatch and a timer. So great for taking tests, and it's already there, easily accessible in your toolbar under the wrench. One other thing you'll see up here is the circle with the 3 lines in it. So this is a sticky note. I'm going to move that anywhere on my screen. So let's say here I want group 1 to start with chapter 3. Now I'm going to hit the plus and add a new sticky note. And I want to change the color of this one to green. So maybe group 2, starting with chapter 7, I can hit another, hit the plus and add another sticky note. And group 3, chapter 11. Now I can move these sticky notes anywhere on my screen. Even if I hit the home button, they will stay there. Which means that as my students are walking into the classroom, if they're divided into groups, or maybe I just want one sticky note, they're kind of getting settled in, I can have notes up here to tell them what we're going to be discussing today, or you know, get ready for a pop quiz, any information that I want to share with them. And then to remove them, we would just simply hit the trash can and delete the stickers. And those are the items that are on your floating toolbar. So you'll see I don't have that toolbar here on my home screen, but as soon as I go into one of my apps, the Whiteboard as an example, now I've got this toolbar and it will float anywhere on the screen so I can still teach from either side. Any questions? Okay, we're doing good. All right, so let's get on to the next Squircle. So far, everything I've shown you has just been in the whiteboard app. So you can see it's pretty robust and very simple to use once you kind of have an idea of what some of those icons and tools in the toolbar can do. So back to the home screen, now we're going to go to the next item, which is Files. And we want to access any files, whether it's something that we've saved and stored on our display. So you'll see, even in Files, I've got my floating toolbar here. So I can grab my writing utensil. Hold on. I tapped on something. Okay, so my writing utensil, now I can highlight things because of this floating toolbar that shows up. So when I access files, if I tap on storage, it's going to be anything that is stored on my display, the memory that is on, that comes with your display. So if I want to save my whiteboard lessons, I can save them in this whiteboard folder. Now I can also access my cloud drive. Oh, sorry, let me X out of that. Now my cloud drive. So when you get your display, you would simply add account, and then it gives you the option to either add your Google Drive or your OneDrive. So you would just simply sign into your Google Drive account, and that way, anytime you want to access something or save something to your Google Drive, it's already there under Files from the home page, and then come to Cloud Drive. Now I also have a flash drive. I don't know if you can see these over off to the side. I've got a couple of inputs there. So if I tap on the USB 1, you can see I've got a Word document. I can bring that up and we can go through the document and highlight proper name, proper nouns or verbs. One thing that I want to show you is, this is a video that I've got. It's on my flash drive. So I'm going to open up my video.
Only a win for Barca would be enough, because
I don't know why it stops showing. It could have something to do with the Zoom.
Goal difference is what counts.
So sorry about that. That's, I think, the one thing with Zoom that's a little odd. So hopefully for now you can see me in the little side window. So I can show you a couple of things. And again, using my floating toolbar, I'm going to grab my annotation tool. And it's going to give me some other options here. So, okay, now we've gone back full screen. So I can tap on this pencil here, and it gives me 4 different colors to choose from. And maybe I want to stop my live video and I want to ask my students, how many right angles do you see on this soccer field? And again, bear with me. These may not be exactly right angles, but just for demonstration purposes here. I can write anything. I can say this guy should be running this way. I can have any lesson, anything that I want to talk about, and make annotations because I stopped my live video. And now with these annotations, we can either create a QR code of just this page with our annotations. We can save it, again, just this screenshot with our annotations. We can send it to our cloud drive. If we hit the broom, all of our annotations go away. But here's something really cool that I want to show you. So we may be talking about right angles on the soccer field, but I may have a student that has a question and they're looking at this video and they want to know something about soccer. I don't really know anything about soccer. So normally, what do I tell my kids? You know, Google it. I don't know. So this A with the underline, if we tap on that, and now just using my finger anywhere on the screen, I'm just going to write the word soccer, and it's going to give me the same little boxes as if it's changing it to text. So I'm going to hit the down arrow, and you'll see that it is now opening up a separate window, and we'll be able to go out and do a live Google search. So you can use this to answer their questions. Let's go Google something and find out about, where was the last World Cup held? Anything that you would do on your computer and type into Google. So you can go out and do a live Google search, answer their questions, close out that window. We still have our video that we've stopped and made our annotations. And now we've got their attention back to the lesson. So the other thing is, if we do not want to save this, we just wanted to stop the video, have a discussion, and now we're ready to move on, we would simply hit the X. The annotation goes away, and then the video continues playing right from where it left off. So, and I'll have to go back into the Zoom and see if I can switch that input again. But real quick, just to show you, if I swipe up, well, that's not letting me swipe up. There we go.
As though Costa is not going to be able to continue with him. Now goes back to Fabregas. Good run by Messi.
So you can see, hopefully you could hear that. There we go. How loud those speakers are. So you've got two 15-watt speakers on your display. So it should be plenty loud enough for any classroom. So let's go to the next item from the home screen, and that's our browser. Nothing crazy here, it's a browser. You can access anything that you would from your computer. So I do have a video from YouTube that I like to play. We can go out and search, symbols for the state of Texas. Where is the speaker bar? It is built in, so there's nothing separate. It's nothing that you have to add, honestly. I don't even know where the sound comes out. So we would just swipe up and be able to adjust the sound, but the speaker is built into the display. So hopefully that answers your question, Kelly. Awesome. So let's see, let's get back to, okay, so Google. Now here is one thing that I do want to show you, which I know I keep saying this, but this is another really cool feature. So you'll see here, I've got my floating toolbar. So I'm going to tap on that. And this is where I'm going to use this. It looks like two pages stacked in front of each other. This is our active directory. And now let me move that out of the way. So this is all of our open windows, just like on your smartphone. You can scroll through and see which apps you have open. So you can easily go back and forth between different apps. We can swipe it left or right to remove it and close down that app. You can tap on the X and remove that open window. But one other thing that I want to show you is, like right here on the browser, you'll see these two, to me it looks like a pause button, but I think to the younger people, they would see that and say, oh, that means I could do a split screen. So that's exactly right. And we're going to tap on that. So now I've got my browser on one side of my screen. And on the other side, again, I can still look at my open windows or open applications. So on this side, I want to tap on the whiteboard. So I can have a video playing on one side. I can maybe have a description of how to write a haiku, which that's always confused me. So I can have anything, even one of our apps on one side of my screen, and then over on my whiteboard side, maybe I want to ask, what are the top 3 things, or let's look at the different states. Who can tell me what's the capital of Texas? So we can search for anything. Now we can also, again, using this floating toolbar, I'm going to tap on that, and I'm going to come over here and see, it looks like half of the scissors and a dotted line. So that's our snipping tool. So I'm going to tap on that snipping tool. Now this is going to bring up a box, and I can capture anything that is on this page just by simply dragging it anywhere on the page. Now I can also resize it to anything. So just by grabbing the little dots, I can resize. And now I've got 3 options. I can either make that snippet go full screen, or I can save just that snippet that I've captured. The third item, it looks like your Clevertouch on a stand. So we're going to tap that one, and it's going to take that little snippet that I just captured from my quick Google search, and it brought it right into my whiteboard lesson. So from here, I can, again, pinch and zoom. I can move it anywhere on my whiteboard lesson. I can grab my writing tool and make annotations over the top of it. One other thing that I don't know if you caught this. So I'm using my mouse tool, and you'll see this little white box in the far right corner of that picture. It's, I think they call it an airplane. So this button will now allow us to take that same image and share it to multiple pages. So I want it to go on page 2. I want it to go on page 4. One thing I've seen is like a tennis coach found the images that he wanted of tennis players, and then he just copied that to every page so that he could teach his students and kind of move them around on that on the page. So any ideas that y'all have, I try to take what y'all are teaching me and use those ideas to share with other teachers to kind of maybe give y'all some inspiration or some ideas of different things that you can do. So any cool ideas that you have, please feel free to share them with me. Right here in the middle of my 2 screens, there's a white line. I can grab that white line and I can make one side bigger, or I can simply swipe it all the way across and go back full screen. So let me grab my toolbar, and we will now go back home. So we've gone through the whiteboard, we've gone through the files, the browser. So the Clever Store is the next item. And let me see if there are any questions. Looks like we're good. Okay, so in the Clever Store, every single app that you see here in the Clever Store can be downloaded to your display for free. So this is our version of the Google Play Store. I think we all know Google doesn't like to play with other manufacturers, so we created our own. If we hit the search, the little magnifying glass, you can see right now we can search by a category. We can search by the age of our students or even a language. So if we're teaching French and we want to find apps that are in French, we can search for that. If we want coding apps for 5 to 7-year-olds, we can search for that. We right now do not have a simple search, meaning I want to search for Khan Academy. We're working on that, and I'm going to be really excited when that finally becomes available. But right now, you can search by category or just simply scroll through. So let's say in the Clever Store, we're not really sure what one of these apps is, but it looks like something we may want to use. So let's tap on this, the fireworks lab. Not really sure what that is. So if I tap on it, it's going to give me a description of what that app is. On the far right, it's going to show me some screenshots so that I know what to expect. And then you'll see here, it gives us the category, the age group that it's intended for, and then free download in green. So we would just simply tap on that free download. And depending on your speed of your internet, it should be pretty quick. So once this has downloaded, I will show you where it will pop up. It shouldn't be much longer. Any questions on that? Nope, looks like we're good. Okay, come on, Fireworks Lab. We're getting there. There are close to 200 apps, I think, right now in the Clever store. We are continuously adding to this. So if there are any apps that you typically use, so now it's going to ask me, do you want to install it? And bottom right-hand corner, I'm going to click Install. If there are any apps that you like to use and you don't see them out here, please either let Tim McNerlin from Abacus, or I guess one of your guys, maybe Nick Stone in the technology department, or you can reach out directly to me and let me know what those apps are. We work with the app developers. I'm going to click on Open right here. So we work with the app developers to make sure that they've rendered the apps to fit our screen size. We also want to make sure that they've removed all of the in-app purchases and all of the pop-up advertisements so that your students won't see anything that's inappropriate, or find a game and try to download extra lives and run up a huge bill. So we've eliminated that. I have never downloaded this app, so I'm not really sure what. Oh look, there's the, I think that's the holes for the speaker. This is a brand new, I just got this a couple of weeks ago, so I hadn't even seen that until just now. Okay, so I don't know, let's click on something. Firework. I'm not really sure, I didn't read the instructions, so I'm not sure what I'm supposed to be doing with this app. But there are a bunch of different apps. Some of them are kind of gamey. Some of them are educational. Khan Academy is one of the apps. Also Babbel. So I know everyone's been saying during this time of quarantine, everybody should be learning a new skill. So in my downtime, I have been playing around with the Babbel app to try to learn a new language, or at least how to say hello. But there's a bunch of different apps, and again, you can scroll through, and these are all absolutely free for y'all to download. So any questions on the Clever store? Okay, let's come back to our home screen, and we've got maybe about 20 minutes, so not much more time. From the home screen, we've gone through the Active Directory, this purple squircle, and that's your open windows. Now lock, if we tap on that, there we go. You can set up a 4-digit code and it will lock your screen. So if you don't want your students interacting, you've got something up on the display and you don't want them to come and write on it or erase anything, you can lock it. If you're going to step out of the room, you can lock it. We just made an update to this feature so that when you unlock it, it used to pop up on the screen for you to type in your code. Obviously, that wasn't working very well. So we've changed that now so that it won't pop up for your students to see what your code is. Coming down to the next item is the apps. So if we tap on apps, You'll see from the screen here, these apps come preloaded on your Clevertouch display. So you've got Adobe Reader, you've got a browser, a calculator you can easily access, Chrome, if you want to set Chrome as your default browser, that's available. One thing that I will point out here is on the bottom row, the white square, green circle with a question mark that says getting started. So you've had a little bit of time to play around with your Clevertouch. Now we've done this online training, and maybe tonight you actually go to sleep and you wake up tomorrow and you're like, I don't remember how Stephanie told us to do that. So you can click on that getting started. That will take you to our website and kind of provide you with like a FAQs. How do I save my whiteboard lesson? How do I download an app from the Clever Store? How do I access my Google Drive? Any question that you might have, you can go through the getting started and it'll walk you through step by step everything. So don't worry if you're forgetting things that we're going through right now. Getting started will definitely help you with that. Now the other thing in our apps circle, so we're gonna scroll over one, and now you can see the apps that I have downloaded from my Clever Store. This is where they're gonna show up, is in your apps section. So you can easily access them. Once we add more, it'll just add more pages to it, and you just kind of continue to swipe over. Now, the last item from our home page at the bottom says favorites. If we tap on that, you'll see the square with the plus. And if we hit that plus, we can now come to our apps section. And any of these that have the plus, we can scroll through and find any of them and add them to our favorites. So we can have up to 8 favorites. I want files, so it's simply just tapping on that and it populates into that favorites tab. If we want to remove something, this has the minus sign, so we just tap that and remove it. If we want to delete an app, let's say I downloaded this fireworks lab. It's not really one that I would use again. I didn't really like it. So if I hold it down, you'll see up at the top, there's a trash can. And we just file that in the trash can. And yes, we want to uninstall that app. So the more apps that you download, it will use the memory that's on your Clevertouch. And for that reason, I would recommend any of your whiteboard lessons that you want to save. Try to save those to your Google Drive so that your Clevertouch has memory to be able to download the apps from the Clever Store. Now there's one other thing that I definitely want to touch on here, and you've seen this number that floats across at the top of your display. This is our wireless collaboration feature. So on your device, whether it's your laptop, tablet, those would probably be the best devices to use. I'm going to use my cell phone and download the app called Clevershare. I believe it's Clevershare 2. And you can go to our website, clevertouch.com, under software and scroll down and you'll see Clevershare. And it'll give you the option of which version to download for your device. So it's platform agnostic, meaning whether you've got a Windows device, Apple, Android, if you've got a Chromebook, Clevershare will work with any of those. So with Clevershare, you can have up to 50 devices connected to a single display. And of those 50 devices connected, you can have up to 4 displaying an image up to your screen at the same time. So we've got the floating toolbar. If we want to use it, we can leave it and it says normal size. If we don't want to use it, we can minimize that. And that way the number goes away and it's not distracting to the students. So let's say we are going to use the wireless feature today and collaborate. So I've already downloaded, let's see if you can see that, Clevershare 2 or the Clevershare app on my phone. So I'm going to tap on that, and that's what it looks like. So I only have space to type in that 6-digit code. And this needs to be on the same network as your display. So now I'm on the same network, and you can see I've got these different features. So if I go into photo, and let's say I'm going to try to send a photo to the screen, and you can see at the bottom, it asked me, do I accept or reject? So that way, me, the teacher, I have control over who's connecting to my display and who's sharing information up to my display. So this is a picture from my phone. I'm sharing it wirelessly. Get rid of that. I'm sharing it wirelessly up to the display. Now with my floating toolbar, I can tap on that and grab my writing utensil, and so I can write in any color that I want to and just make annotations over the top of it. So let's say your students went outside with their devices, their Chromebooks, and they're taking pictures of the fall leaves. And now we want to compare and contrast what they have. So we can either do 4 students at a time, or even if they're divided into groups, 1 person from each group can send an image up to the display, and then we can make annotations and save that QR code, or save it to our Google Drive and send that out to the students. Or we could just simply X out of that and our annotations go away. Now, one thing I want to show you is if I try to show a different picture, so the teacher's already approved me to share a picture, but now I'm going to try to slide over and send something else. Again, I have to accept or reject that. So you don't have to worry that your students are just, you've given them permission and now they're going to go crazy. So you, the teacher, will have the ability to accept or reject. You do have to be up at the display to accept it, but maybe you've got little Timmy in the back of the room that's just constantly trying to send something, and you don't want to keep disrupting your class to hit reject. After a short time, I want to say maybe 5 or 10 seconds, if you do nothing and you ignore it, it will go away. So you don't have to reject every time. If you just continue with your lesson, that request will go away. Now, that was just sharing a photo. So the next thing I want to show you here, if y'all can see that on the bottom where it says desktop sync. And again, this is in the Clevershare app. So I'm going to do desktop sync, and this is this backwards thing on Zoom always kind of drives me crazy. So now I've got the ability to come in here. You can see on my phone, it's not showing up on the actual screen, but if I add a new page and I want to interact on my display, you'll see that the same thing is now showing up on my device. I've got the same toolbar at the bottom of my phone that I have in my whiteboard app. So if I want to, let's see if I can do this way. I can interact on my device, and now wirelessly that's showing up on my display. Let's see if I can come back to my Zoom app and get this back on the screen. Okay, so I think we're back. Sometimes Zoom takes me off, but this gives me, okay, so on your device and the question was to show that again of how we got it to show up on my phone. So in the Clevershare app, let's see if I can get a zoom in here. It says desktop sync as one of the items on the app. So I'm going to click on desktop sync, and now it's going to ask me to accept it. So this would be for the teacher's device. Not every student would be able to do the desktop sync. So on I'm the teacher, and I have a tablet. I want to walk around the classroom. I don't want to be stuck up at the front talking at my students. I want to engage with them. So yes, you have to accept the desktop sync. So your device has to be on the same network as your display. And if you have a tablet, an iPad, a Chromebook, a laptop, an iPhone, an Android phone, any of them, you would download the Clevershare app. And then when you connect, so you put in that 6-digit code, this code, and then it gives you the option. So you can either share a photo. If you do video using this app, you really don't even need your document camera, because you can use the camera from your device to show anything, and it would display up on the screen wirelessly. And you can still make annotations over that. One other thing is you'll notice this number will change. We're going to tap on this real quick and come into menu and the settings. And we can tell it that we want the code to refresh every 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 60 minutes, or never. My recommendation is to have it change. If you're not going to be using that wireless feature, it's not working yet. Okay. So I'll work with your tech department and make sure that we get that working. I think our support team is working with your tech department to get that kind of figured out. But if you're not going to be using the wireless collaboration feature every day, then you can just come up here and let's get out of this just so you can kind of see. Okay, so we would hit mini size, and that way there's not a number showing. It's not a distraction. But if you are going to use it, I would do the settings where that changes, the code changes every 10 minutes. So it gives your students in the classroom a chance to put in the code on their app, connect to your display, but then they can't share that code with other students that may be out in the hallway. If you set it to never, then your students will always know the code and will constantly be trying to connect to your display. So since it's not going to be used all day, every day, I would leave it at a 10-minute, what's the word? The time for this to change, for this code to change. And then anytime you need it, you can just tap on that and show the code, let your students connect to it. So we can go over that again once we get MISD, the whole network issue, everything figured out where y'all are using it regularly. There are a couple of software packages that you get with your Clevertouch, and I could spend an hour on each of those. So what I typically like to do with districts for training is to go over all of these features and then give y'all some time to kind of go over it, use it, see what questions you have, what's working, what's not working. And then for those that want to do more and create content, create interactive lessons, use the online teacher community in the Snowflake software, There's so much that you get with this and so much that you can do. So we can schedule another session, and I'll work with Nick in your technology department to get that set up. I typically give the teachers anywhere from 30 to 90 days, depending on y'all's schedule. And who knows, maybe in that time I'll be able to travel out there and see y'all again. Before we say goodbye today, do y'all have any other questions, anything that I didn't go over that we want to touch on? Let me, I don't see any other questions. Let's see. Yes, this is recorded automatically from Zoom. I'm not sure why my display is not sharing the screen again, but I typed up my email address. It's behind me, but just in case, I will give it to y'all. It is stephanie.robinson@clevertouch.com. I don't know if you can see that on the screen behind me. So if you have any questions at all going through this, feel free to reach out. If you want to send me your email address, I will reply. And my signature block has some links to different training videos. We've got a channel out on YouTube, the Clevertouch channel, and there's a bunch of different videos out there as well. So I hope y'all learned a lot today and are excited about using your Clevertouch. I appreciate your time, and I hope you have a great start to your school year. It will take just a few minutes for Zoom to download the recording, and then once I have that available, I'll share it with Nick in technology so that he can get it out to y'all. Awesome. Thanks so much. Have a great day.